I know what I'm wearing. I address it later. Anyway, listen, punk ass. There's no footage for this movie. I can't. We're hitting points now where there's movies that I watch on Tubi that have better copyright protection than what I can work around. So I'll try to put whatever footage I can find on YouTube into here and hopefully make it work. It's annoying, but like this, the last one, this one, the next one, and the one after the next one don't have footage. It's just a black screen with just audio, which sucks and is annoying. I get why. I'm not saying that they're wrong, and I understand why because of assholes like me, but it's frustrating. Welcome back to Tubiween, and I'm wearing the worst thing that I could possibly wear. We're talking about Critters 2 today. Critters 2 is directed by Mick Garris, director of Stephen King's Sleepwalkers, The Stand, Psycho 4, Stephen King's version of The Shining, so not the one that people like. Stars Lyanne Curtis from 16 Candles and Benny and June. Everything else I had never heard of. I haven't heard of Benny and June either, but it was like number 4 and most popular of her career, so somebody knows it. It also stars Scott Grimes, who was the main kid in the first Critters. I never mentioned him because I was D. Wallace stone-pilled and forgot about Scott. But Scott Grimes was in Oppenheimer, Band of Brothers, Ted the TV Show, and Crimson Tide. Critters 2 is basically Critters 1, but bigger and in some instances better. Critters 2 just kind of tells the story of, it's been 2 years, I think, since the events of the first movie, so the main kid from the first movie and his family move out of town because I think apart from the sheriff who believes them, everyone else thinks that they're just crackpots, so they move out of town to start anew. Main kid comes back to town to visit his grandma, and it's around Easter, which ties into the eggs that were laid at the end of the first movie. Now there's like crates of them. There's like hundreds of these eggs. At the end of the first movie, there was only like 3. So I don't know where the rest of them came from. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Who gives a shit? And it's fairly slow starting at the beginning. The first one was also pretty slow build up until everything went down. This one, they're painting the critter eggs for Easter eggs. They're going on an Easter egg hunt, and then when they hatch, I will say this movie's probably more violent than the first one. Still rated PG-13, which is crazy for something I'll get into later that I can't even show. This one's a little bit more violent. There's way more critters running around, and it's no longer entirely centralized in a house. It is entirely this small town, fictional town named like something, I don't remember, but it's this entirely fictional small town. I think I wrote it. Hold on. Okay, no, I didn't. I just wrote that as a small town in Kansas. So the critters are running around this entire small town in Kansas, just like wrecking up shops, and that's really fun. There's a really good scene with them in a fast food joint or like a burger place. But our bounty hunters are back. We got the same one from the first movie, and Charlie, who was the drunk that I couldn't remember the name of, the town drunk, crazy person who heard aliens chattering in his fillings. He's back. He actually went into space to be a bounty hunter with them and is now coming back. So he's in it again, along with the bounty hunter who just can't seem to get a face working for him. I don't remember if they ever said their names in the first movie, but their names are Ugg and Lee. Oh my god, it's ugly. Oh my god, it's ugly. Why did that take me till now? I watched this movie yesterday. Oh god, okay, so I'm blown away by this. Anyway, Ugg looks like the rock star from the first movie. Lee is the one who's having the issues with the face. Lee, and this is why I'm going to get into why crazy that this is PG-13 and what you could show in a PG-13 movie at that time. Now I feel like if they did this, somebody would get shot. Lee, when he lands, finds like a Playboy magazine and just like copies the face and body of a Playboy model, and it's her in the movie. I'll write down her name over here for you people who are interested. I don't care. I didn't write down her name, but for what little she talked, she was fine. I wasn't anything like we got a Playboy model to play this and she can't act like it wasn't bad. It was whatever. But yeah, it was when Lee turns into her, she's just fully naked, walking with a gun, and like nothing's covered. It is all laid bare and out. I again had to double take and was like, this is PG-13, right? They could just show this? This is crazy. Again, I feel like nowadays, if someone dared to have a tit out in a movie, even for 4 seconds in a PG-13, somebody in the street would get murdered. What you could do in late 80s, early 90s. So the critters attack, they're rampaging throughout the town, and our main guy figures out a plan to send them to a meat packing facility. I believe it's like the place that supplies all the frozen beef burgers for the burger joint that the critters were chewing up previously. And that's the plan. Lee at some point gets eaten by critters and dies, which causes Ugg to have like a mental breakdown, and he just can't shapeshift anymore. So now it's up to Charlie. Charlie's the only one who can do anything. And as soon as things start to take a turn, Charlie is out of there. He's gone. So the plan now is to put the critters in the meat packing facility and just basically make it like a bait room and then blow it the fuck up. Very much a Gremlins ending of getting all the Gremlins in that movie theater and then just blowing the movie theater up. This, however, does not work because famously, I knew nothing about this movie besides this. The critters don't die in the explosion. All like 100 and however many of them congeal into a ball and just start rolling and running people over. I hope I can find footage of this, but they run somebody over, and as they're like running him over, they're eating him as the ball's rolling. So when it comes off of him, he's just a blood-covered skeleton with like some tissue left on him, which was really funny. But yeah, then now we've just got this giant critter ball that's just about to rampage through the town and run over the church where everyone else has been hiding, all the children, older women, some men, whatever, like that. The critter ball is coming to the church to demolish the church and kill everyone in there. And then Charlie comes back in the bounty hunter ship and kamikazes into the critter ball, blowing himself and them up, which in a moment I'm gonna say was much more effective than I ever thought a movie called The Critters would be. I was genuinely sad that Charlie died. He quickly became one of my favorite parts of these movies, and I was upset that he was dead. But it turns out that as the main kid's going on the bus to leave, Ugg figures out what face he wants to turn into, and it's Charlie. So the kid kind of gets like a way to say goodbye to Charlie again before, he leaves. And then actual Charlie shows up with the parachute stuck to him and he can't get it off. And apparently he's just been walking from like a field into town for like 8 hours, just trying to get back and let everyone know he's alive. And he decides to stay back on Earth. Ugg goes up to space. Charlie's thrown the sheriff badge to be the sheriff of the town, which I don't know how that's gonna go for you, but hey, good luck, more power to you. And the movie ends like that. Not really, from what I remember, there's not really like a stinger of like sequel bait, which is cool, because then in theory you can just watch I did it again. In theory, you can just watch Critters 1 and 2 and then stop there, and you can just ignore Critters 3 and 4 and Attacks. And I found out there was one that was a short, and I can't remember what it was called. Aliens? The Critters Aliens? Or Critters Bounty Hunters. I was Googling to find the bounty hunters from Critters, and I Googled Critters Bounty Hunters and got results for like a short film called Critters Bounty Hunters. And there's probably more. I don't know. I have no idea how many Critters movies there are. I do not care. Maybe for another year, we'll continue the Critters-a-thon. I don't know. For what this movie was, I liked it well enough. So the only other thing I think I want to say is I totally see why people would prefer this one to the first. It's got more Critters shenanigans, it's got more action, it has more characters, more a higher body count. Because I think only like the sister's boyfriend dies in the first movie. But yeah, I think only the sister's boyfriend dies in the first movie, so this one has a little bit of a higher body count, which, like, is fine. I'm fine with the critters not, like, murdering indiscriminately and all over the place. Just their antics are funny. They're not subtitled in this one. There might be, like, one joke in it, I want to say, where they have subtitles, but that's about it. They do a pretty decent job of just, like, making critter noises and you kind of understanding what they're saying. Yeah, you know what? There was one scene, towards the end there where they were subtitled, because they were going to go after some people and then decided after, let's go to the cheeseburger factory, and they were talking about that. So yeah, they were subtitled once. Having a whole town to destroy and rampage through is pretty cool. Very like almost Terror Squad feeling, where that's a small town in like Indiana and they're just blowing up that fucking town for real. Probably because the town was going to be demolished. So getting a small town for the critters to rampage in is pretty cool. What I'm going to say, and the reason I prefer the first one just a little bit more, and I mean by just the tiniest amount, is I really liked the Brown family, the main family in the original. I'm sure a lot of that went to Dee Wallace Stone just being the mom actor, and I always love seeing her. As much as she's typecast as the mom, I do love seeing her play a mom. So, but I liked them. I thought everyone had a pretty good relationship off of each other. and I was more okay with it being in one central location because the Browns' house is huge. After being in it for enough time in the beginning, while everything's kind of building up, you kind of get like a mental layout in your head of like where or how the house is constructed. So when you're seeing walls get blown apart, you know what that wall was connected to. Like in your brain, you know that like, oh, that wall got blown apart and the bathroom is right next door. So that's part of the upstairs in kids' room, bathrooms. Like you kind of spatially know where everything is, which is a nice little detail. I don't know if that was intentional. Probably not. It was probably just like an accidental like clarity of like, oh, I basically know how this entire house is laid out. That's cool. So overall, I do enjoy the first one more. The second one is a lot of fun though. Just as fun as the first. It is just like the minor nitpick of I just liked the family in the first movie more, and I liked the central location a little more. There was a little bit more of a connection to everyone there than there was with the ensemble town cast in the sequel. That Critter Ball though, that was pretty fucking peak. I'm gonna give Critters 2 a 3 out of 5. It is a half score lower than Critters 1. It is just that little bit that's lacking. That doesn't make me enjoy it as much as the first. Overall, you can't go wrong with either or. I honestly would recommend both Critters 1 and 2 as like a double feature because they work so well with each other, and I straight up don't remember there being like a stinger at the end for another one. So I'm wrapping that up. We're done. No more Critters this fucking marathon. No Critters. Come back tomorrow for another pretty well-known movie. I'd say less well-known than Hellraiser, but you be the judge of that. Fuck you. I'm not your dad.